Good morning. This is Deb, and I am owner, co-founder of what? Oh my God, Blooper. No, I did that deliberately. I just wanted to show you that it's important to be transparent when you're trying to do a YouTube video. I am focusing on you. Not all of you, just you individually. Like I am talking to you one at a time, and you, and you, and you. All of you one at a time. Trying to tell my mind and my brain that that's a camera and stage fright. So, I have a tendency to go mind blank. Yet I feel it's very important to keep that in my video, not to take it out of my video, because I just want to be myself. So with that being said, did I intentionally do that? No, I actually lost my train of thought. I do that a lot. So with that being said, I'm going to start this introduction all over. Good morning, everybody, and Merry Christmas. You gotta love the background. It's classic, right? But on a serious note, more serious note, I just wanted to come on here and talk about my horses and how I arrived at MooTBlue Farms. Now, I did a video a couple of days ago in reference to what we do here at MooTBlue Farms in a nutshell, and it was more geared around the appreciation from my husband, who has worked tirelessly at making my dream a reality. But before all of that began, I had a dream, and I had a vision, and I still do. And I was a small girl, excuse me, and I'm 63 now. I had a birthday in November, so yay, happy birthday to me. I made it to another birthday. And let me add, just because you're over 40, over 50, and in my case, over 60, doesn't mean you have to stop wanting to live your dreams, should I say. Everybody has a dream. Mine are horses. And hopefully for those of you who are watching, that would be your dream as well. You may have horses and you may not have horses. Or you've always wanted a horse. So keeping that in mind, let me go back in time. As I said, I was a little girl, and I always had a vision, a dream of what I wanted to do. I knew I was going to be this famous, always wanted to be a famous barrel racer. Is that like crazy? It's still there, but my mind says I'm 18, but my body says, no. So I just have kind of revamped that just a little bit. I still would love to rub barrels. I love barrels. Is it good for your horse? No, not really, but I still love barrels. You'll find me mumbling about the silliest of things. That's just what I do. So let's go backwards in time, like I said, just a little bit, knowing that I've always wanted horses, always wanting to pay it forward to somebody, somehow, some way, and explain to you, since I've gotten some requests about the backstory for each horse and how that horse arrived at MooTBlue Farms. And I'd love to get into that. So here we go. There's so much I want to say all at once. And I'm going to try my very best. It's very hard for me to break everything down from one video to maybe a next video to the next, and so on and so on. Before I leave my childhood, I wanted to let you know, along about the 6th, 7th grade, I wanted a horse. I knew I wanted a horse. My parents were divorced, and it just wasn't going to be a reality. My mom worked 2 jobs, and God bless her, 1 year on summer vacation, and mind you, she worked 2 jobs. But on summer vacation, we all know we have like from June to August, September, when we're on, even back then, yeah, back, when T-Rex roamed the earth, yeah, I still had summer vacation, even though I'm 63. I begged to take horseback riding lessons at a camp, which was during the day. It was not overnight, and not back then. It was like $400, and back then that was a lot of money. My mom managed to get the money together, thanks to my grandparents, and so I could attend 6 weeks, mind you, of riding camp. After 6 weeks, I begged, and my mom let me do it again. So the entire summer, 12 weeks of riding camp, did I become really top-notch rider? No, I was just living a dream. Living a dream. Knowing I had to have horses in my life. The years went by, and in about 1987, I moved from Texas to Ohio. Now, to go backwards just a little bit before I moved to Ohio, I was 19 years old, and I just got my very first credit card. My sister's 3 years younger than me. Now, mind you, my mom is divorced, working 2 jobs, and we live in Houston in an apartment. But I'm 19, and I knew everything there was to know about everything. I'm sure you had those times in your life, or you might even have a child or a grandchild that's like that now. They know everything. Oh, God, back in the day, that was so crazy. But my sister, she really wasn't into horses, but I knew I could con my sister into getting a horse with her big sister, and it worked. I know, shame on me. But there was a Bureau of Land Management horse adoption event going on. And back then, I didn't know what happens to America's wild horses. That's a whole nother video. It's not good. Especially when your tax dollars pay for the roundup of these wild Mustangs to this day. Yeah, they do. That's where your tax dollars are going. Like I said, a whole nother video. It's pretty sad and depressing what happens to wild horses and to domestic horses. Again, another video. And I want to keep this a happy page. And maybe one day I will go to that darker place on this channel and talk about what happens to America's wild and domestic horses, which I call America's dirty little secret. Now, I convinced my sister to go to this BLM. It wasn't an auction. It was where you went, it was an adoption. For $125, you could adopt a wild Mustang. You had a lot of rules and regulations to go by. Now, mind you, I'm 19 years old. We live in an apartment. My sister's 3 years younger than I am, and I have a credit card. Well, and I also thought that, I conned my mom into it, too, after I kind of purchased 2 Mustangs. My sister got one, and I got one. I put it on my credit card, but boy, did I have a lot of explaining to do. A lot. I had nowhere to board these horses, nowhere. I didn't have a job. I'm like, what are you doing? I knew I was going to be in a lot of hot water with my mom. You bought what? I didn't have a job, like I said. My mom was working 2 jobs, me and my sister was so naive back then. Oh, I feel bad, I really do, but anyway, well, my mom gave me my comeuppance. Believe me, she did. She told me, Dad, you're going to go out and you're going to get one of those things, what they call a job, a job. Boy, I did. And it was a good job. I was 19. The world owed me everything at age 19. So, God, the things I did. I don't know if you did that. But anyway, I got a job and I had to immediately find a place to board. Now, yes, my mom helped me. And she's always been a horse fanatic too. So it kind of was, of course, that horse gene goes to her vein too. But where do you put a horse? You have an apartment in the middle of downtown Houston. It just doesn't work. Anyway, I found a place to board my horse. And I had to pay the boarding, of course. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like really expensive. What do you mean? I have to do this. So, well, I learned a lot of responsibility. And it all turned out well. My sister and I, we have a really good relationship. I would be lost without my sister. And I pulled a fast one on her, but she wasn't that dumb. She knew what was going on. And she ended up naming her horse Mariah, and I named mine Orion. I know, strange names, right? And we adopted them. We found, like I said, a place to board, and it all went well. And this was like in early of 87. I take that back. That was in 1986. Or was it 85? Don't get old. You can't remember a whole lot of stuff sometimes. Just kidding. And then one day, as crazy as it was, and I look back and I'm like, God, the hell I put my mother through. I need to go find myself. So I left not one, not two horses, 2 dogs, and a cat in my mom's care. My mom and my stepdad would go out and feed the 2 horses at the boarding facility, and it just became way too much. So they ended up adopting them to a wonderful couple, because I had to go find myself. And my dogs, they found a good home. Their names were Daisy and Ginger, and my cat's name, she was a Himalayan Siamese. Oh my God, so beautiful. And his name is Marquis. And gosh, looking back, the hell I put my mom. And when I left, I didn't even tell her where I was going because I had to go find myself in the great unknown abyss, you know. So looking back, yes, I made a lot of mistakes, and I know you have too. So moving forward, those 2 horses have since passed, Orion and Mariah. I did keep in contact after I figured out, boy, did I mess up. And they went to a wonderful, wonderful home where they were very much loved. And like I said, they passed away. I lost track of what happened to Daisy and Ginger and my cat, but I do know, and I trust that my mom found them very good homes. And I had my comeuppance over the years, because I went for a long time. I still wanted a horse, and it just wasn't in the cards for me. So I went for 1987. Remember, I had to go find myself, so I ended up moving, with my mom's blessing, moving up to Ohio and starting all over again. And wanting and longing for another horse. And it just didn't work. And it wasn't going to work. I now lived in the apartment. And I wasn't about to board anywhere. Not at that point. I couldn't afford it. So long about 89, 88, 87, 90, in those years, I ended up getting back into horses, but not riding or owning. It was taking care of horses. There were 12 brood mares from the track, the racetrack. And that was $100 a month. I had to clean stalls, feed them. And this was twice a day. I'm like, oh my God, what are you thinking? So I thought, well, you know, you kind of messed a lot of people over when you were 19, so maybe this is your comeuppance, you know. And, I mean, it taught me a lot of good things. And there was this one horse I fell in love with that I was taking care of, and her name was Upsy Daisy. And sadly, she passed away. And I realized I can't do this. This isn't a moneymaker. Let's get what they call a real job. So I got a real job. Now moving forward to 1993, I met my first husband. I worked for a vending company making all kinds of really good money. They sold food, or they had a contract with other companies like hospitals, steel mills, where I would go fill the vending machines. And I absolutely loved that job. And I said that's where I met my first husband. We were married for 13 years. We ended up divorced in 2012. Okay, I need to correct myself. My memory was not serving me correctly, so I apologize. I was married in 1993. I had 2 children, and in 2005, after 13 years of marriage, my first husband and I divorced. Both my kids were young, and it was a very, very rocky road. So that horse dream desire was like not even in my mind. And I know my daughter mentioned it, even though she was younger, and it wasn't in the cards. So, and it wasn't even really it was someplace that we couldn't go, and I couldn't accommodate my daughter with her dream at that point in time, or mine. So I want to explain why. Now, I said we were divorced in, I think I said '05. It was actually in 2004, and my kids were young. Moving forward to 2007 or 8, I don't remember. Their dad, my ex-husband, developed colon cancer. And now I have my oldest, who's going to graduate soon, and my youngest daughter. My ex-husband progressively got worse, and in 2012, on January 20th, he passed away. That was the worst day of my life for my kids, because my kids were heartbroken. No kid should lose their parent. That was very hard. So my whole world changed, and since then I've been married. I've remarried, shall I say. And my current husband is the one who helped me ignite the horse dream. Now I've jumped ahead just a little bit, so let me backtrack to January 20th of 2012. My ex-husband and I did not have a very good relationship through the rough years that led up to a divorce and after we were divorced. It was always a battle with the kids and who got the kids and what weekend and yada, yada, yada. And it's sad the things you go through when you go through a divorce. And it was hard because as much as I wanted to, per se, talk ill of him, I wasn't about to defame their father to them. You don't do that. They have to grow up, be adults, and form their own opinion. And that's their father. So just because we didn't get along, they shouldn't pay the price. Whether that needed to be said in this video is irrelevant, but I said it anyway. And on Christmas, between Christmas and January 20th of 2012, from 2011 going to 2012, their dad gave each one of the girls a special gift. And my youngest of which was a horse, and his name was Austin. But we hadn't gotten him yet. She just gave him the money to go get this horse. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So then from January 20th of '05, we went all the way to July 27th of 2012. And that's where the horse journey was reignited. Not just for me, but for my daughter as well. My oldest daughter, she graduated high school. She went to college, went on an internship, and went to Florida while still working to be an RN. And they sent her to Disney World. Wow. She worked at all the theme parks. and still maintain going to college all at the same time. Now my youngest, on January 27th of 2012, I get this comment, Mom, there's this place in town that's offering horseback riding lessons. I'm like, where in the world? There ain't no place around here like that. And she goes, oh, yes, there is. And I'm like, okay, well, let's go check it out. So we went and we checked it out. Now, this was July 27th of 2012. Well, you didn't have to ask me twice. And knowing that their dad gave them each a gift upon his passing, my daughter wanted to buy this one horse. So again, I jumped the gun. So we started boarding after July 27th on September 7th. We went from July all the way up to September, taking lessons and doing this. And in the meantime, we were presented horses. And so on September 7th of 2012, I bought my daughter. She picked him out, but I paid for $1,000 for Austin, her OTTB, which he was an off-track thoroughbred. And he came with another horse named Jack. They were both located in an auction facility in the southern part of Ohio, where I am from, the state that I moved to, actually. And so we both now owned horses. I bought myself a horse for $900, and I bought her a horse, and here I am today. Everything was going great. We were boarding. We were doing 4-H. COVID hit. And my daughter also had to, in all of this, she ended up having to go find herself. She's now 17 years old, and I'm like, oh, so I knew how my mom felt. It was horrible, but I had to let my daughter find herself, and I took care of her horse, Austin, and sadly, I mean, she didn't do anything wrong. She's just a typical teenager, you know, boys and horses are kind of like over here now, and so, but yeah, we still wanted to have the best of both worlds. So my mom picked up the slack, her horse, my horse. So then COVID, like I said, hit, and on June 11th of 2020, Austin collapsed. I watched him do it. It was horrifying, and I called my daughter, and my current husband was here with me. Austin had what they called a twist. Basically, it's colic, but his small intestine and the stomach, it twisted. And it would have been an excruciating way for him to leave this world, so we gave him the last act of kindness, and we helped him find his way to greener pastures. That hit my daughter like a ton of bricks, because that was the last thing. We're getting choked up. That was the last gift that their dad bought for her. Well, he didn't buy the horse, he gave her the money. And I don't know, I've been compelled to tell this story. It means absolutely nothing to you, but it does to me and my family. And give me a minute. Okay, I'm fine. And yes, Austin was laid to rest here on our farm at MooTBlue Farms. And like I said, that was the last gift that their dad gave to my daughter Terry. And I'm kind of like it's hard to talk. I got 3 million things running through my head right now. But it didn't sit well with her. She got defiant because now her dad passed and her horse passed, all within a short time frame of each other, from January to September of the same year, on top of COVID. I mean, it was horrible. But moving forward, She now owns 5 of her own. She's 29 years old. Or is she 28? 28. She owns 5 horses, and all her horses are rescues. And I've owned 6. Austin was part of that 6. I now currently have 5. It started out with Austin and Jack, the 2 horses that came together. That started my daughter and I on our journey with horses again. And I believe their dad and my current husband, they both played a huge part in all this. And I do believe that my ex-husband played a huge part in this, opening the door for a horse. And I know my current husband played a really huge part because he's the one that built everything here. From our barn to our lean-to our other barn, fencing in all our pastures, working his you-know-what off to buy an extra acre. That was expensive. I mean, just so much has changed since, God rest his soul, since, his name was Rich, since he passed away, and horses came back into our life in July of 2012. And like I said, my horses are all rescues. Hers are rescues. And she now has a 7-year-old. And my oldest has a 2.5-year-old little boy. But they don't live around here. I wish they did. And they're more into the motorcycles and the cars. And that's cool. Everybody has their thing in life they love. And Terry, that's my youngest. She's into horses, like I said, and she now has my 7-year-old grandson as a clover bud in 4-H. Yeah, on a rescue horse. This is so exciting. I'm so excited. And me, I now have, Austin passed, I have Jack, my neighbors. God bless them. 2 years ago, this will be the 3rd year I've owned Hot Sauce. His name is, like I said, Hot Sauce. He's older. He was an old cowboy working horse. And oh my gosh, he is amazing. And I've rescued 3 ponies. They're all from different situations. Hot Sauce was given to me. Jack, as I mentioned somewhere in this video, he was from an auction facility in Southern Ohio. Missy, my 1 pony, my daughter and I, Terry, we rescued her from an auction, and she was pregnant. Not my daughter, she wasn't pregnant, the pony was pregnant, but that's a crazy story in itself. I'm going to do a video on that. And then Blue, my other pony, he was an owner's surrender. He was chained up behind a restaurant, and they took care of him, but that's a video. So I'm going to go through and eventually make a video on each horse so you know more about them. Other than they're Debbie's horses. Yep, that's my name, Debbie. So call me Deb. That's what I go by, Deb. And I'm glad you're here. And so I have Jack, Hot Sauce, Missy, Tina, who is Missy's baby, because Missy was pregnant when I got her from an auction. My daughter and I got her from an auction. And then Blue, he was an owner surrender. Now my daughter, she has rescued her OTTB, off-track thoroughbred, retired racehorse. Good stats, good everything, good racing history, a lot of starts, but the horse needed to retire. They ended up using her as a brood mare and making babies, and they retired her. Not my cup of tea, but that's what you do in the horse world, I suppose. But with that being said, she also has 3 others that are from a very, very well-known and liked 501 here in our area, Rescue Sanctuary. And so she has 5. And the journey has begun, and I'm so excited. And Do you want to know how we came up with the name MooTBlue Farms? Oh my gosh. Moo. That is Missy when she whinnies. My grandson, who's 7, who's in 4-H, says, Grandma, she sounds like a cow that goes moo. So he calls her Moo, Miss Mooey. So we just call her Minnie Moo or Moo instead of Missy. Everybody has weird nicknames, I know. And then Tina, her name is actually Tina Marie. I know, strange name, didn't name her. But we call her T for short. And she answers to T, she answers to TM for Tina Marie. And then there's Blue. My grandson named him Boo Bear, which is so cute. So, but I call him Blue, or Boo Boo, or Boo Bear, or whichever. Just happens to come out of my mouth when I'm talking to that pony. So my husband came up with this idea, Moo, M-O-O, capital T, T for short for Tina, and capital B, Blue for Blue. Moo, T, Blue. I thought that was rather clever. I'm like, no, that can't. There's a band named that. I know. I like that band. And I'm like, I don't know, it stuck, and it just seemed to fit. So that's our little inside secret on how we ended up with the name MooTBlue Farms. And the established date that I chose to pick was when I bought Jack, my horse, and Austin on September 7th of 2012. That's when the journey truly began. So there's a little insight on how MooTBlue Farm came to be. So I thank you more than you know for sitting and listening and being part of our journey. I want you and you, I'm talking to you. I would love for you to be part of my journey. This is my first YouTube channel, and I'm going to be frank. Actually, I'm Debbie. My mom always said, your sense of humor is as dry as your father's, and it kind of is. But anyway, I swear my hair is like purple in here. It's all good, but I'm glad you're here. I ramble a lot, and I am so happy to be here, and I'm more thrilled that you took time out of your day, out of your busy schedule, your life, to sit and listen to me. So if you like this video, I thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you again. Bye. See you in the next video. Bye, everybody.